5 months from now, your book is going to be on bookshelves.
Yeah.
Like, how does that feel?
It's surreal. It's hard to believe, considering that the first time I started typing out words for this book was a beautiful October day in 2018, sitting outside. And I just got a flood of ideas and thoughts and inspiration. And I thought, you know, why not? Why not? We're writers as journalists. That's what we do. This is different. You know, here we write other people's content. You know, we have news directors and producers who decide what our content will be, but it's very, very different when it's content that comes from the heart and something that speaks to you, and you are the creator of that. And what does it mean? What does it look like? What's that messaging going to be? And so I just started with some ideas, really, and it started to flow. And that was a good feeling, because to me, that's a God calling that you're on the right path.
When I found out that you wrote a book, I was like, when did you have time to write a book, Dominique?
I don't know.
You know, I mean,
know.
when did you find the time? How many little napkins were you jotting notes down on over the years?
I mean, little notes, because things hit you. You know, you get those weird epiphanies at 1 in the morning when you're trying to fall asleep. Or, you know, sometimes at work, something will hit me. And so I would always have something to write down with, but I would most certainly have my laptop next to me. And I found my most creative times were in the morning. You know, since here my job is late and I wouldn't get to work until later in the afternoon, so I'd use all that morning time to write. But I also found a lot of my creative writing was happening late at night, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's like, hello, you need to get some sleep. Yeah. But that's sort of when the creative juices flow, and you take them when you get them, and they can come at odd times, but really early morning, late at night, weekends, and in between life and parenting and YouTube and all of that.
I know over the years you have heard countless times from your fans and your followers, even your friends, being like, Dominique, like, you need to write a book.
Yeah.
You know, but now, I mean, you've been a newscaster for almost 3 decades.
Forever.
An influencer since you launched your YouTube in 2014.
Right.
But really, you are this encourager. And you say, in terms of this book, for the women in their prime, you're meeting them right where they're at.
Yes.
Right?
That's important to me. And I love the word prime, because I look at this time in our lives, and really any woman can define it at any time. A woman in her 40s can say she's in her prime, or 50s, or 60s, or 70s. It's a very subjective word to use, but you get to determine when that is. And I meet them right where they are, because there are a lot of life changes that can take place during these decades. They can be changes that are self-induced, or changes that are maybe afflicted upon you. And so there are major life decisions to be made in terms of how you look at yourself, how you feel about yourself, what decisions you're going to make in your life. Is it time for a pivot? Is it time to maybe shift how you think about where you are? And sometimes that requires a digging in of the heels. It requires some bold risk taking. It requires pressing into your faith, which is something that I do often. And it requires a conscious choice to say, I may be here, I may not feel great here, this is no place to stay, but I have the power and I have the toolkit to be able to get somewhere else. And really that's what Life Makeover is about. It's a toolkit to help women get where they want to be. I use a lot of personal stories, a lot of funny anecdotes, things that worked, things that didn't, because I want to keep it real and share that with everybody.
Well, and I think that's what your followers love about you, is that they've learned so much about you since you launched your YouTube. And I know we've had this conversation where when you're a newscaster, there's a different level of connection with the viewers versus when you're on YouTube and you're giving these tutorials on makeup and hair and all the things that you've discussed. But do you find that this book is an extension of the connection to your viewers that you perhaps haven't tapped into just quite yet?
100%. It's a deeper dive, completely. And it's an opportunity to go to places where I haven't fully been able to explore yet on YouTube. And some of that has been picked. I kind of describe it like peeling the layers of an onion. You know, YouTube has enabled me to peel some of those top layers off. What I love about it, and you describe it perfectly, because here you have opportunities, but they're limited. YouTube gave me an opportunity to be just like every other woman, to be a girl in the bathroom, right? Starting fresh-faced, not being afraid to go there, to be like, hey, this is who I am. This is my starting point. I'm just like you. Let's work on this. Let's build this together. And the modality that I love to use, and I call it beauty from the outside in. And people always hear that expression, beauty from the inside out. But that is a lot of work. That's a lot of pressing into. And sometimes people can lose that motivation and lose that spirit because it can be a long haul. What's great about beauty from the outside in is that it's quick and it's instantaneous, right? So if you're maybe trying a new makeup look, you go for it, you take a bold risk, suddenly you see yourself differently. You're like, wow, look at that. I look different. You're getting compliments. You're getting responses from other people. Maybe you've worn your hair a certain way forever and you take that bold risk and you do something completely different. And again, you start seeing yourself differently. And I believe that the physical is so powerful that it can lead to deeper change within. And so that's kind of the modality, is start with that physical, get excited by the change that you're seeing. Don't be afraid to take risks. Hello, you've only seen me through like a gazillion hairstyles. You know, try and see how you feel about yourself in that moment, and then see how much further you want to go in your life. Does it apply to your relationships now? Does it apply to your organization? Does it apply to your career, your parenting, your wellness, how you take care of yourself? So that's really what it's all about.
Have you been surprised with the response from once you launched your YouTube in 2014, yes, and here you are, just a girl in the bathroom,
right?
You know, and inserting these words of encouragement that really probably went further than you ever thought they would.
Yeah.
Receiving these emails and these letters from people all over the world, finding out how much you touched them. Yeah. Do you find that that really is what inspired finally in 2018 going, I'm going to put pen to paper, it's time?
100%. The letters that I would receive from women were exactly that. It was, I randomly found you on YouTube. I saw one of your tutorials. I started doing this. And then they were so transparent about the profound effect that those simple tutorials that I just thought were helpful tutorials, right? To guide and to show you different ways of doing things. But it was leading women to making deeper change in their lives. And they were so beautifully open and transparent with me about that change and how impactful it was. And I would read these letters and tears would start streaming down my face, because never in my wildest dreams, Christine, did I ever think that these videos would touch women in that way. But what's really surreal is in 2018, I was at church, and during service, there was a woman behind me, and she tapped me on my shoulder, and she said, "You should write a book." And it was just kind of on the heels of receiving all of these letters, and I thought, okay, you know, this is happening in church. I think this is a God seed.
This is a calling.
It's a calling, and it's something that needs to be done. And as somebody who loves to write, it also brought out something more in me, which I really, really felt was cathartic.
So I saw the book cover.
Yes.
Beautiful photo of you.
Thank you.
But this book, I mean, as much as it is about you, it's about the reader.
It's 100%
that you're connecting with, right?
100%. And I really, really want women to know that this is not some kind of autobiography about me at all. It's about the reader. It's about the woman who has come my way and who wants to make this lasting impact in her life. And it's basically a guidebook. It's methodologies and philosophies and principles and behaviors and patterns and things that have served me, how I was able to get all of that into play. I want this to be about her. You know, I talk in the introduction about building a bridge to yourself, but also building a bridge to your future and what that looks like. And of course, I'm going to infuse some of me in there and some personal stories, because I think that's what has connected me to her online, is that willingness to be vulnerable. So there's a lot of vulnerability in the book. There's a lot of imperfection. There's a lot of, you know, hits and misses. And I'm okay with both, because that's what makes us who we are. And how can you be a guide if you're not willing to show your failures in life? So.
Are there any sort of secrets or little tidbits that viewers are or followers or readers are gonna learn about you in this book?
I think they're gonna learn. I think some of the personal stuff may catch them by surprise. You know, I don't think the messaging will, but maybe some of the personal stories, and just some of the funny anecdotes. You know, I, as you know, mess with my hair constantly. So my first dabble with hair color actually happened when I was in 7th grade at the age of 12, which is extremely young to be dabbling dabbling in hair color, but it happened.
I love it.
And it's a crazy, funny story. And I know that a ton of women will be able to relate to this story and this product in particular. So yes, there are just, I think, just some funny personal moments. My mother's in there, you know, I mean, just there's a
We
little
love
bit of
your
everything.
mom.
Gotta have Audrey.
Oh my gosh, we love Audrey.
Thank you.
Especially from the YouTube videos. You guys are hilarious.
We're quite the team.
Okay, so what did you learn about yourself during this process? I mean, I know that you're always so intentional about growing, evolving, paying attention, and living your most blessed life.
Right.
What did you learn about yourself during this?
I learned that it was time for me to take a bold risk in my life. As you know, I've been here for almost 28 years. And as beautiful and as blessed as this career has been, and it has been, and I've never taken one day for granted, I was also feeling this stirring within that it's time to do something else. And so it's interesting because I needed to do the work in me that I'm asking the reader to do in her. And that is sometimes you have to listen to that little voice that grows louder and louder to the point where it's almost deafening. And you need to act on it. If you don't act on it, you could be missing one of God's greatest blessings. And so that was my takeaway for me, is that it was time. You know, I heard that voice. This business has served me so well. Connecting with the viewer in this way has been magnificent. I'm so grateful. They've welcomed me into their homes for 28 years. But sometimes we just have to sever ties and go into sort of the great unknown, even though there's uncertainty in it, even though there may not be security in it. It's that creative exploration, that evolution that I believe we have to take on our journey and our path. I don't think we were created to sit still and to be the same throughout our entire lives. I think we have to evolve and take advantage of things that maybe speak to us.
How, sitting back going, okay, I'm retiring from this amazing career. I mean, we're going to miss you so much.
I'm going to miss you guys big time.
You know how much we're going to miss you. Getting ready for a book launch, completely entering this new chapter of your life. I mean, is it humbling? Is it overwhelming? Is it exciting?
All the above. Yeah. All the above. Yeah. It's, you know, this is a really busy week for me, so right now I'm in the busyness, and I haven't had a chance to fully process that this is my last week. So I'm waiting for that to hit me, and I know it will, probably like a ton of bricks. I'm expecting it to. How can it not? So there's going to be that severing and that separation that I'm going to have to process. Now the beauty is that you are all my work family. You know, that's what I've loved about Channel 2, is that this place has been my home away from home, and I have forged some incredible friendships and relationships here. And you don't physically have to be in the same building with somebody to continue that. And so now I've got more freedom in my schedule. So lunches and dinners, you're going to be getting texts from me, and it's like, hey, can you meet? So, you know, it will continue that way, but just in a different way. So it's really a mixed bag. I mean, I'm excited. I know I'm going to have some sadness when I have my box of belongings and I walk out that door. It's going to be weird. And I have an incredible amount of optimism and anticipation for what I hope this book will do and mean to women who feel a calling to it.
Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, okay, because we're still looking forward to this book release in April 5th of next year. In terms of other projects, because I know you're always thinking and working on things, but could we see possibly a second book coming out of this chapter of your life, like this point forward?
Absolutely.
What's in the works? What are you thinking?
Everything is open to me, and that's the beauty, is that I am open to the uncertainty of it all, and that's the strangeness about this, because when you do the same thing over and over, all you have is certainty and predictability. You know what's coming, you know how long it's coming. So now I feel like I'm being launched out into the universe, and I don't quite know what's going to come my way. And I'm okay with that. And so I'm open to it. Does this lead to another book based on where I am in my life right now? Does it lead to something in the beauty realm and launching something there? I don't know. But I'm going to keep my eyes wide open, and whatever feels right. It's got to have that same feeling that writing this book created in me. It has to be that pure knowing, and then it's something that I'll pursue.
And the title of the book?
Life Makeover, Embrace the Bold, Beautiful, and Blessed You.
April 5th.
April 5th.
We're so excited for you. We're so proud of you.
Thank you. I am too.
And we're going to miss you. Best of luck.
Thank
of luck. I'm going to be giving you all the hugs this week.
Aw, and after.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the book?
No, I mean, I think we kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too.